Welcome to another edition here of Flying the Metal Flag. I had the great thrill of talking to the Professor, the lead singer and bass player of AKTOR, and their new album, Professori Season 2, is out at the end of November and it is a big release. So strap yourselves in for this great interview that I had with the Professor. So sit back and relax. Here he is. This is the Professor of AKTOR on Flying the Metal Flag.
Hey, Craig,
G'day there.
how are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Am I talking to the Professor?
Oh, it is me, and I should tell you off the bat, we've had some internet challenges in my house today. I don't know if it's just us or we're waiting on a big snowstorm at the moment too, so it could be also weather related. But let me know, I guess, if anything gets choppy and you need me to repeat something. But otherwise, we'll hope for the best.
No worries. So is everything all right where you are?
Oh,
With
everything's fine. I mean, a couple ups and downs, around the city for sure, but overall we're fine. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Well, welcome to this show. It's called Flying the Metal Flag. It's a great thrill having you here.
Thanks
Um,
for having me.
so you call this band a side project, do you, Actor?
Correct, correct. It's a side project, not just for myself, but for the other two musicians involved. They have an extremely busy schedule of recordings and gigs outside of the band. So yes, this is very much a kind of a special playground for us where we can kind of take a break from our other things and have fun.
So how would you describe the band in your own words?
Musically, that's always been a bit of a challenge for me because I lack, I also fly the flag of metal almost exclusively myself. Beyond those boundaries, I lack a lot of points of reference for other styles of music. To me, I would say Actor is like a heavy pop band. I don't know that I would put Actor strictly inside the boundaries of heavy metal. Um, we certainly have those influences. We have those moments where clearly heavy metal is happening, but on the whole, I think it's a stretch. I mean, you've heard the new record, which is definitely the heaviest one of the three. So where would you locate it on the heavy metal spectrum? I don't know.
Oh, well, it does have heavy moments. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
Um, it's it's a really good album, I have to say. So congratulations on it,
Oh, well,
of
thank
course.
you. Thank you.
I really like it, and I love the concept behind it as well,
Cool. Cool.
which is really cool. And the fact that it's known as Season 2 when it's your third album, I think that's pretty cool as well.
Yeah, it's a little offbeat.
So how did that concept come about for it as well?
Well, I had a period of about 2 years, I would say, approximately 2021 going into 22, where I became uh, obsessed is a strong word, but I kind of came into the habit of watching these detective shows from Scandinavia and from that part of the world, and also Finland. It just kind of became this genre of TV that I was drawn to, and I watched a number of series. One called The Bridge that is
Oh, that's
pretty
a
popular.
classic, isn't it?
Sure, and then there's one from Denmark called Forbrydelsen, which translates to the crime. I loved both of those. There was one from Finland called, well, the English title was Deadwind, but I think in Finland it had its own Finnish title, which I can't recall. But I got to a point where uh, I found I had watched all of the good ones. I was I was dialing in some others that, the algorithm says, well, you liked that, maybe you should try this, maybe you should try this. And I did try a few other ones and decided that I had kind of reached the bottom of the barrel. Like I was beyond the best of the genre. So I decided to move on. But at the same time as I was deciding to move on was coincidentally the same time that the Actor album landed in my lap, and it was time to write the lyrics and do my vocals for that album. So I thought, since so many of the TV shows that I had watched were coming from the same part of the world where my actor bandmates are, that maybe it would be a way of commemorating my mini obsession uh, with the TV style to do an album concept in that style. So that's kind of making a short story long, but that's how I arrived at the idea to do that. And my bandmates said, sure, go with it. They said, well, we don't totally get it, but let's see what you've got. And that's kind of making a short story long, but that's how we ended up with the musical detective show concept.
I reckon it's fantastic because
Oh, thank you.
I like how each song is like an episode
That's
of the
ex you're
show.
yes, and you're picking it up exactly as we intended. That's exactly right. Each song is an episode, and you may have noticed that we have, I watched enough of these shows to find what the patterns were in the storytelling and what how would you say, the cliches, the stereotypes. So I was able to kind of pick up a lot of those kind of elements that we would see again and again in these shows and incorporate those in the album too. So it's kind of a tribute. Let's say it's a tribute to the genre. Um, the Scandinavian detective TV genre.
Oh, you've done well with it, man. I love it.
But thanks.
It is a
Thanks.
great record for sure. So, who have been your influences throughout the years? Is
Uh,
there many, particularly for actor as well? Because I know you're obviously a metalhead. Yeah.
totally. Well, my number one, going back to when I was a kid, when I was maybe 10 years old, I decided that Motorhead would be my favorite band. Um, and I've stuck with that. So that would be number one for me. And I mean all eras of the band too, not just the Lemmy, Eddie, and Filthy era. Really, I find a lot to love about pretty much all eras of that band. Um, and then very close to that in terms of favorites. You have Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath. So we're not going too far into obscurity to name my favorites. I think they're uh, very good points of reference for a lot of metal fans and a lot of metal songwriters. To get a little more off the path, maybe. I consider myself a songwriter. Um, and so I've over the years been drawn to it's a funny term that I've made up, which I call the singer-songwriter metal. And by that I mean groups that are driven very much by a strong frontman persona, not just in the image that the band has, but musically as well. And here I have three examples: Wasp, Running Wild, and Bathory.
Oh, yes.
Three groups that are very much driven by a strong songwriting vocalist frontman. And so those uh, would be three that I always have to mention when answering the question. Now, the relevance to actor, I don't know. That's a bit elastic, you could say, because obviously I'm not singing like Lemmy. I'm not howling like Quorthon from Bathory. So it's maybe more of a, how do I want to say, more of a holistic influence that kind of imparts onto my process with my music and with Actor.
Oh, okay. So what about 80s music in general, like pop music? Was that ever an influence?
It was in the indirect kind of way. I was an 80s kid. I was born in 78. So I didn't really understand that there were. I think this is probably what happens when you're a kid anyway, is you don't really understand that there are genres of music. Music is just music, you know what I mean? So it's like you have, I guess when if you're playing with, you fiddle with the radio and find, okay, here's the classical station and here's the jazz station and here's the pop station. Maybe you begin to understand then that there are these different um, sounds and different styles that music takes. But being a kid in the 80s, yeah, you heard a lot of what you would call top 40 commercial radio. I mean, there were so many fewer points of access or listening to music compared to nowadays. Obviously, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have Spotify and all these outlets with this infinite realm of things to listen to. You kind of had to uh, not take what you could get, but you were exposed to things in different ways. Um, but there were fewer of those ways. Um, and so, yeah, I think, which is coming around to say, I think the pop music of the 80s was unavoidable for those of us who were kids then, and particularly um, I think at the dawn of MTV, when that was also kind of driving exposure for a lot of bands and for a lot of the audience on the other side. But there are a lot of 80s pop tunes that I don't quite well, in most cases, I don't know the artist name, and I might not quite even know the name of the song, but you hear a few measures of the intro, and you know exactly what song it is and how the tune goes and everything because it's um, again, I heard it as a child, so it's kind of engraved into that primal lizard part of my brain. Like it can't be erased, whether I wanted to or not. So yes, there is um a lot of that period of pop music kind of knocking around uh in the back of my head.
Do you think in a way we had it a lot better growing up in fact of the way we heard our music? Or do you think because the way that things are, there's so much out there and the way people get it, it's like we sort of had limited sort
We
of
did. We did, and it's a hard question to answer because I mean, we're never going to go back,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You can't make YouTube and Spotify. I mean, unless unless Russia takes down the entire internet, which I don't see happening. You can't. Spotify is not going anywhere. It's not going away. I think it's a difficult question to answer. I think what may be true is that the bond is not as strong. I think because there are so many channels and so many things to choose from nowadays, it's easy to jump away from something to something else and maybe not connect as deeply with that first something. If that makes sense. You're like, oh, I'll try that. There are some albums, some of my favorite albums that I didn't fully bond with until the fifth time I listened to them, the 10th time I listened to them. And there are some of my favorite albums that I'm still finding new ways to love. Had there been 1,000 other choices after those first few listens, um, that may have played out differently. So that's something I wonder about. I would also say I think there are some big upsides, some big positives to to the way the technology and the mechanisms work now. I mean, I would hear about a band, see a band mentioned in a magazine or in another band's thanks list on their album and be like, well, that sounds cool. How the hell am I going to hear that? And it might have taken me years of looking into record stores or asking my friends, have you heard of the band called, how can I listen to Angel Witch? For example, I heard the name maybe when I was 11 and I thought, that sounds like a band that I want to hear. I wasn't able to do it until 3 or 4 years later when I came across a compilation that they were on. And then by then I had figured out how to order records through the mail. But it was years between when I first heard of Angel Witch and when I actually got to listen to them. If that was a kid today, they'd be listening to Angel Witch in 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. Yeah.
so there are positives, and that's a positive not only for the listener, that's a positive for the band. And that's something I try to remember too is anybody can listen to AKTOR right now if they have a device and an internet connection, which is true of a lot of the world. They could be listening to my music right now. Um, so there are some big positives to the technology as it has advanced. Drawbacks for sure, but you know, again, it's not going away, so we may as well focus on the positives as how I try to try to think of it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's only going to get bigger and bigger, I think,
It's
too,
true.
isn't it?
It's true.
And that could be a bigger positive in itself.
I hope so. Like I said, that's what we try to focus on because can't take it back. Can't rewind the clock.
So are you going to do a big tour with Actor with
No, I
this
don't
new
think
album?
so. No. We haven't played live actually.
Oh,
Um,
really?
it's been strictly a studio experience at this point. Um, every time we finish an album, we kind of get a little bit excited about the idea that maybe now's the time. Maybe we will finally do Actor live. And the conversation never gets very far because, well, there are two ways that it could happen, right? The first way is that we have the three band members. We have the drummer, and then we have a guy who plays guitar and keyboard, and then we have me, and I play bass and sing. But that does not cover all of the sound that you hear on the album. Obviously, um, you see the guitar player is very talented, but he doesn't have four hands, so he's not going to be able to. Sometimes it sounds like he does, but he doesn't, and so he's not going to be able to play guitar and synthesizer at the same time. So right there, we need to add one more person, and then we have the question of whether I would be able to do these vocal parts while playing bass. So maybe we need to hire a bass player. And it quickly, in order to recreate these kinds of all these layers, this kind of saturated sound that we have on the album, we find ourselves needing to hire 3 or 4 extra musicians. That's one way it could happen. The other way it could happen is also doesn't sound so easy. Well, it is easy. It's too easy. And that is, of course, having backing tracks and doing it the playback way where all those extra sounds are just playing from a laptop on the side of the stage. Um, and we don't feel too good about doing that either. It almost seems like the first way would be more fun, but it would also be an enormous amount of work. So, as I said, when we finish an album, we do get a bit excited by the idea, but I don't think we ever get closer to saying, okay, let's do it. I mean, just to get together to rehearse. I mean, I live in Chicago. The other two guys live in Finland. Uh, I can't just pop over there on a Wednesday night and have a jam. It's I wish I could. I would love to be. I would love to be able to do that, but easier said than done.
No worries. Well, hopefully one day you might get to do that.
If we get an offer we can't refuse, then then we won't refuse. But
Beautiful.
until then, I think it will be just for people listening at home, and they can imagine what the live experience would be.
Yep. Well, last question for you,
Go.
and I will ask it to you this way. What's the best thing about metal?
Oh, the best thing about metal, the best thing about metal is that it's always there for you. It's reliable. It's it's like a religion, right? It's like our God. It's always there for you.
And it's always comforting.
Exactly. And you can always go back to it. You can always
Fantastic.
that's a good question.
And it's a nice answer too. Thank you.
Cheers.
No worries. Well, thank you very much for your time,
Uh,
Professor.
thank thank you for having me. This was fun. Good
N
talk.
No worries. So the album is Professori and season two, of course,
That's
and
right.
it's out at the end of the month, and it is a fantastic album. The band is AKTOR, and it's well worth it. And so are the other two releases, might I add. You've done a fantastic job with this side project, mate. And I
Well,
wish
thank you.
you and all the other lads the very best with it, and hopefully one day you tour.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, as long as we're all still, above ground, I think it's not impossible. It's a small chance, but again, if we get an offer we can't refuse, we'll be uh, we'll be right on time. So, likewise, thanks for having me here, for the kind words about the album and for the work you do.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So thank you for your time. I appreciate that too.
My pleasure.
No worries. All the best.
Cheers, Craig.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much for watching this interview here on Flying the Metal Flag. I really hope you enjoyed it, and so does Ben. So we would greatly appreciate it if you click the like button, or even better, subscribe to this channel because there's so many interviews that are coming soon. So please stick around for them and even more, and even the ones that are here already. So please take care and keep it excessive, but most of all, let your metal flag fly high.